Welcome to another review from the Four Corners of the Board with your host, Graeme Anderson. Hello everyone, this is Graeme Anderson from Four Corners of the Board. Today I'm going to be looking at Einstein, a tile placement and pattern matching game. Now when I first heard about this game, I was intrigued by the theme. Then I heard it was a tile placement game and pattern matching where everybody is placing their tiles in the middle of the table. That got me even more intrigued. Then I heard it was for 14 and up, and I thought, well, this could be more than just a simple tile placement and pattern matching game. So how does this game stand up? Well, let's get it to the table, see how it's played, then we'll come back for my final thoughts on Einstein, his amazing life, and incomparable science. So here we have Einstein set up for 2 players. To begin with, each player will select an Einstein to play, and there's 4 Einsteins in the deck, and basically they represent the different ages of Einstein. So they go right from young Einstein all the way up to wise Einstein. There are numbers on each Einstein card, and that will just determine the player order. Next, the people will also get the appropriate decks that go with their Einstein, and each deck is different, and everybody will get a set of tiles that match their color. Now, all these tiles are the same for each player, it's just the colors that are different. The game will start with the youngest Einstein, who will draw 3 cards, and your hand limit is 3, so you're always going to have 3 things you can build. These cards will show you the patterns you want to make with the tiles, both your tiles and your opponent's tiles, in the center of the board. They'll also show you a cost of them, or I should say the victory points that they're worth if you're able to complete these. So this one here, it's an easier one to build, so it's worth less victory points. So on your turn, you're going to be placing 2 of your tiles in the middle of the board, and then hopefully completing 1 or more of your inspiration cards. So let's say I want to go after this one. I'm going to place a tile there and a tile there. Now when you're placing the tiles, you notice that there are little markings on the tiles, basically lines that kind of come off the side. The proper placement rules are you must match up the lines. So I can't place this like this because that line doesn't match the line that's coming off here. And you also notice that some of them have 2 lines coming off the side, so this one cannot go here because there's only 1 line coming off the side. So there's kind of basic placement rules. The other basic placement rules are you can't overlap them, and basically anything else is doable. So I place my 2 tiles, I look at my cards, I can't complete anything, so it'll be the next player's turn. Let's say the next player places a tile here, and they place a tile, well, they're going to place another tile here. And again, they can't claim anything, but I look back at my turn and go, oh look, this is now complete, because this now matches those 3 tiles there. But because I did not place the last tile that made up the shape, I can't claim it. I now have to remake this tile somewhere else. So I could say, you know what, I'm going to play there, and it's not going to fit, right? Because I can't overlap, so I can't place that one there, so that's not going to work for me. So maybe I'm just going to start again. I'm going to draw maybe another tile, place it here, and place another tile here. When you're claiming these, they have to be in this exact orientation. Now, of course, they can be rotated, but they can't be mirrored. So they have to exactly be shown like this. So technically, that one there matches that. But again, because I didn't play the last piece, I can't claim this. I can't retroactively claim completed cards. I have to create the card myself. But let's say that he had, on his turn, he had actually done something like this. Let's say he had placed those 2 pieces there, and I had not played this piece. I can now place this piece here, and I can now claim this card. So I'm claiming that piece, that piece, and that piece matches those 3 pieces there. So I get to claim this card, I'm going to place it face up inside of me, and I'm going to draw a replacement card. But because I used one of his pieces in my diagram here, he gets to have one of these stars. He's going to keep it for end of game scoring. The other option I have is I can also look at the kind of optional cards up here. And these are usually, if this happens on your turn, you get to claim one of these cards. So for example here, this one says you connect 4 or more philosophy ideas together, which are these here. you can claim this card. So let's say on his turn, he's going to place maybe this piece here. Now it's connected 4 pieces all together, and he can claim this card. And that's going to be worth 4 points at the end of the game. Now, he did use one of mine, but I do not get to claim one of these stars. The only time you get to claim a star is completing your personal inspirations, not these kind of master ideas. So again, that would go in his completion pile. And then I'm going to refill this, and the game continues. Each person is going to be placing 2 of their tiles logically on the board. They're going to be claiming, hopefully, some of their inspiration cards, and also collecting some of the master ideas. The game will end when the master idea deck runs out, whether someone's inspiration deck runs out, or someone only has 2 sets of shapes left, and they've used those. I only have 2 shapes left. The game will be over. You add up all the points from the cards in your completed inspirations and master ideas, plus any of the stars that you've got throughout the game, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Now let's get back to the table and see what I thought about Einstein. So, what did I think about Einstein? Well, this is a tile placement game, and in my mind that means it all comes down to how interesting it is to play the tiles and to how interesting it is to figure out where those tiles go. And with these tiles being such interesting shapes, you kind of got standard shapes here and then kind of very irregular shapes and little arrows and things like that. It made the game very interesting, and it also made it interesting because you were having to figure out how these tiles fit together to make the patterns on your card. I don't think I've played with anybody who the first time around was able to easily figure out what the patterns were. Most of the time, people are holding up their cards and kind of rotating them to try and figure out where they can place them. Then looking at their tiles and kind of rotating the tiles and putting them on the card so they can kind of figure out how everything fits together. That's a very interesting mechanism, that it's not a straightforward tile placement game. Having everybody build in the center of the board, so everybody's pieces are being basically put together, also adds an interesting aspect to the game. Now with 2 players, it's a lot easier to kind of grasp and plan out what your moves are, because you are generally either trying to get the other person to help you, or you're kind of off in your own little corner building up your little pattern that you're trying to make. But that being said, you have to watch what the other player is doing, because if you can piggyback on something they're doing, then hopefully A, you'll be able to do your pattern, and B, either mess them up or have them use your tiles so you can get those stars. Now, as you increase the player count, let's say up to 4 players, it does become a little more chaotic, but I never felt that it got uncontrollable. You are always on your turn. Yes, they were a bit slower, but on your turn, there's always some place to play. You're almost always completing a card, especially after the first round or 2, you're almost always completing a card every turn. Now with the 4 players though, it does get more chaotic, and because of that, there is some downtime. You can't really pre-plan your move really until the person right in front of you goes, because you're having to look at the board, figure out where your card could fit, and do you have the pieces left to be able to complete that? Or is there one of those major idea cards that you can piggyback on or get to get the extra points? I really like the fact that you can piggyback on someone else's tiles. Yes, they get the stars, but allows you to complete a card. And for those low point cards, it's very interesting to see how many points you're willing to give away for a 3-point card. Are you willing to use 2 other tiles that aren't yours to get 3 points, but then you're giving away the 2 stars, which will count, as victory points at the end of the card? It's a very interesting mechanism. And when the cards are worth 5 points and near the end of the game, you just want to get these out, so at least you're going to be getting some points. I really like the art in this game, and the tiles are very easy to read and very easy to figure out which sides go to what side, because there's lines on the sides of the pieces to say which way they attach. I believe that the tiles are something called Penrose tiling, which is a way to tessellate an area. So it's a very scientific type game. I also like that on every card, and I think through all the player decks, all the cards are different. I don't think I've seen any duplicates. Some of them are very similar, but none of them are identical to each other. And on those cards at the bottom, there's also a little blurb about Einstein's life. So all in all, I'm giving this game a very favorable review. I really enjoyed Einstein. Now, I am going to play it normally as a 2-player filler game. The games last 15 minutes to half an hour, and I really enjoyed the 2-player aspect slightly more than the higher player count. But even at the 4-player count, it's still an enjoyable experience. So For that reason, I'm saying give Einstein a try, and it is a really fun tile placement and pattern matching game. And as always, thanks for watching. Thank you for watching another review from the Four Corners of the Board. Please like and subscribe to these videos. You can also follow us on social media, email us directly, or check out our website at fourcornersoftheboard.com.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.